What is going on, everyone? Mr. Mom Collectibles. I am back with a review I am so excited to finally talk about. It's the talk of, 6 scale groups, YouTube channels, everything. Not necessarily Hot Toys specifically, but just this character, the Batman. And this is the Hot Toys Deluxe version. Finally got this in, and I wanted to share my thoughts on this and kind of give you my breakdown of what I think. We have the Deluxe here with the light up base, and we have, as you can see, the bat signal. There's a lot to uncover. I'm not doing a complete unboxing. This is more of a showcase just because there's so much to look at. If you want to check out some other unboxings, there's other breakdown videos of this set that you can definitely take a look at, but this is more just showcasing my thoughts on the final product. Before we get started, please consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if this is in fact your first time and you enjoy the content. And more importantly, drop a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. If you have this set, if you're waiting for InArt, what your thoughts are, how accurate do you think it is, what's your pros and cons about it. I'm going to turn the lights on first. We'll take a look at the figure, and let's get into it. All right, so I turned the lights on in the room. I left the bat signal on just because I like the light that's shining on it, but we're gonna talk about a couple things. So like I said, there's a lot to talk about, right? Not only the figure, but we can't not talk about the elephant in the room, that you have the InArt version that has been, out, the videos, the unboxings. So you're not only gonna get, comments about the Hot Toys, but it's gonna be more about a head-to-head, right? That's what really it's gonna be about. Which is better? Which is the one to get? Are collectors, feel like they're getting more value with one or the other? I personally don't think so, okay? Now, right off the bat, I'm getting both. So this is the deluxe version that you see from Hot Toys. I also have the Bat Cycle. It's not here yet. It's shipped from Pop Culture, but I didn't want to wait for that. I wanted to start talking about this and get this out. And so I was going to wait for the Bat Cycle. I was going to do an all-in-one with everything, but, I really want to talk about mostly the figure and the signal, since those have been made by InArt to give a more head-to-head comparison. I do have the InArt on order. I have just the Batman with the sculpted Bruce Wayne head. I don't have anything else. So I will be doing a follow-up comparison video, like others will be, but definitely want to do a comparison. So let's just jump right into it, okay? So I pre-ordered this figure. Now, the way that I got this, I got the actual figure, I got the middle deluxe, which is the figure, the light-up base, and a bunch of accessories. That is what I bought. And then actually a friend let me know that Toy Anxiety parted out the bat signal, and I actually bought the bat signal separate for a really good price. So although it's the deluxe, I did technically buy them separate, and I roughly ended up saving myself about $70 compared to if I would have bought this deluxe piece from Sideshow all in one. So I saved some great money there. I'm really happy about it. Let's talk about the figure. I'm going to be very upfront opening this figure up. I saw enough reviews about it, kind of figured out what was going to, kind of prepared myself. In terms of figures that I have gotten in so far in my possession in 2024, okay? I know this figure came out last year, and it was a lot of people's figure of the year. I can't give something a figure of the year if I don't own it or I don't have it in my possession. So my figure of the year are figures that, or my top purchases are figures that I have physically in my possession. That being said, this is arguably number one or number two. It is an unbelievable figure. Hot Toys hit a home run with this, okay? They absolutely hit a home run. Now, we want to jump into some comparisons, and I'll talk about the figure itself and things I like. Number one, what don't I like about the figure? Hot Toys is continuing the streak of capes. The cape, personally, is garbage, okay? I don't like the cape at all. Hot Toys has yet to do a cape to impress me. The closest maybe is the Moon Knight, but I don't own that figure. But the cape is garbage. There's actually two capes that come with it. Both are like wired. One's like more wired than the next. The cape that's on my figure is actually the second cape that comes underneath the clamshell. The cape that came on the figure, I instantly removed it within a few seconds. of opening up the figure. It just was really bad. This thing is like paper thin. If you watch Dean Knight's review on his, that was one criticism that he had, and I trust his opinion. He didn't really like the cape either. Hopefully there's going to be some custom cape makers out there that will do something. When I see this, I really picture a much thick, heavy leather cape, drape cape, and this is just complete opposite. So the cape is a no-go. There's a lot of intricacies going on with the belt, the accessories, all that stuff is really fantastic. The pose that I have him in on the steps, like I said, the light up base here, and he's kind of standing with the flashlight, or rather the red flare, I guess you could say. So I like this pose. I had this pose right out of the box just like this, and I kind of left it. I like this. The figure really lends itself to a more non-dynamic pose, museum, or kind of very, kind of, like I said, a museum, very imposing, minimal futzing kind of pose, if that makes sense. You don't really see a lot of dynamics, so I think he just lends himself so well, and it's just an unbelievable piece. Absolutely unbelievable. The face plates, once again, I know with the lighting here, but the face plates look really great. I love everything the way it looks. The head being magnetic is a nice thing. It really allows you to articulate the head really well. You have to be careful how low you tilt the head down because the jaw plate can pop off. But I do prefer a magnetic head versus like a popping it in with a ball joint, because it gives you more free range of motion, easier to pose. So I do like that. That's awesome. Like I said, all the accessories. There was some misconceptions that I had personally. I kind of thought that like the D-ring and like the clasp and everything were like separate. It's all like one piece of molded plastic, like this, the D-ring and everything like that. It's all molded together. Not that it matters, but like I said, that was just a little bit of a misconception. I thought was all separate pieces, unlike the InArt, which is all separate pieces. So there's mobility and all that stuff. Like I said, I'm calling out differences, not saying better or the other, just calling out the differences. The base here is awesome. I will be using this base, the light up red. It comes off orange, but it is a really deep red. I do wish that the third set lit up, but that's kind of a piece that can slide on. There's a lot of multiple ways you could display this piece, but I kind of wish we had the third light of steps, just kind of really bring it home, but it is awesome the way that it is. Now, comparing this to the InArt one, it's really difficult. Like, the way that I see it is with InArt, I don't think collectors are losing, okay? Anyone out there that's putting out a real hard opinion about, InArt is nowhere near Hot Toys or vice versa, it's a real ignorant thing to say. I think they're two fantastic options. Collectors are winning at the end of the day. It doesn't matter which one you're getting. There's differences between them. There's no like complete package. So what do I mean by that? Well, InArts doesn't come with this type of base, okay? It doesn't come with a light up base. That comes with this version of the Hot Toys. Yes, if you get the collector's version, it's, you don't. But I'm just saying as an example, you get a light up base with this one. InArt, you don't. Okay? Different. You also get the wingsuit with this. Whether or not you use it or not, you don't get that with InArt. Okay? InArt, the flashlight lights up. You don't get that with Hot Toys. So there's differences between there. You can go rooted with InArt. You can't with Hot Toys. You get the Bat Cycle made by Hot Toys. Because if InArt made a Bat Cycle, it'd be double, triple the amount of money. So there's differences. And I think when this figure came out originally, and when the InArt was announced, a lot of people might, look at the price point, like, oh, InArt's so much more expensive. To be honest with you, if you really break down costs, cost isn't a factor in this case because they're both pricey. Like, $375 for the deluxe, $515 for the bat signal, everything all in. And then if you want to do upgrades and things like that, for example, I have, which I'll do another video of, I do have the OT Customs collar, which I will be putting on this because I will say it's hard to get in screen here, but the one thing about it, now you don't have to do it. I'm going to remove the head for a moment just so you guys can see better, but the collar does look very restricting, as you can see there. That's what the collar looks like on the Hot Toys one, and then that's what the one looks like on the OT Customs. It is a wider collar, so it allows for more range of motion and it is more accurate. OT Customs is not the only person making collars. There's other companies out there that are doing that, but this was the first one that I grabbed because he was the first one doing them, so I grabbed that collar. But that is another added cost, okay? This was, I think it was $50, $60. Now add that onto the cost of the figure. If someone does a drape cape for the figure, that's going to be another $80 to $100. That's going to build that cost up. Now, are these absolutes? No, you don't have to do these. It's an option. But what I'm saying is price comparison is, I think that's kind of out the window. I know people talked about the InArt Joker. Oh, it's so much money. It's $1,000 figure. Okay, cool. But you know, Hot Toys figures are getting up there in price too. So, but I think there's differences between them. Now, if we jump to the Bat Signal, I did buy this separately. I held off on it because I was worried because of, you know, people saying it's underscaled. I will say in person, it's big enough. Like, it's big. It's a huge piece. It's very hollow, lightweight. The light is very bright. It is incorrect. Obviously, it's a white light, as you can see there. It is white, so it is inaccurate. It's not that yellow amber, but difference between InArt. InArt, it does have a pedestal that this is raised up on. See how the dome is flat to the ground? InArt is up on legs, so it's higher. It is a little bit bigger. However, that one with the amber light, as great as that is, that's not USB. The Hot Toys one is a USB plug-in. So you have USB capability on this, but the InArt one, you have to use batteries or use some kind of alternate USB substitute to get that plugged in if it's going to be inside your display. For me, buying a premium piece like that, they should have made it USB. No excuses, none whatsoever. It should have been USB for the amount of money that you're paying for it as a customer. It should have been USB. That's my opinion. But once again, those are differences. So far, if you're looking at a checklist between the two, I don't know if there's an overall like hands down winner. It depends on the collector and what you want out of that set. You're getting different stuff, and I actually prefer that, okay? I do prefer that. Now, looking at the Hot Toys version here and looking at the videos I've seen of the InArt, I do see the differences, okay? And I think there's just a lot of ignorance out there for people who don't want to admit it. This Hot Toys is a fantastic figure. Fantastic. But can things be better? Of course they can. I can just look at some of the differences in here and see where InArt elevated things, took things just to another level. But once again, we're talking about a Hot Toys figure that is produced on a much higher production run than InArt. InArt can afford to take their time and make the figure to a higher quality because they're not producing as much as Hot Toys. So for Hot Toys to put out this type of figure with the quantities that they do, and also doing other figures, there's 130 figures in the books roughly between pre-orders and active. It's a damn impressive figure. This is an impressive figure. I easily say, and you can see here are some other Batman figures that I have. I'll just kind of pan this kind of like my DC-ish wall, and you kind of see my, the other Batman figures that I have. And this here is easily my favorite Batman figure, and it's the best Batman figure. I'm interested to, when I say the best, it's just the qualities overall, the presence, the shelf presence, what it comes with, what I paid and got for my money. This is the best Batman figure that I have. The other two that I'm interested to compare is the updated 89 Michael Keaton and the modern suit Michael Keaton. But right now, this is the front runner as being, I think, the best Batman Hot Toys figure that they have made to date. And I have no problem challenging anybody otherwise. Obviously, there's other Batman figures that are going to be, coming down the pipeline, 2.0s and such, but I can only speak about what we have in front of us. Like I said, it's an incredible figure. I was really blown away by it. I had a couple days to play with this thing, put it up, play around with the details. Like I said, it has the sticky bomb gun. That's another thing that I didn't like about this, is that if you got the collector's edition, they kind of hid that behind a paywall where you could only get the sticky bomb gun in the deluxe versions. I think that was an L on Hot Toys not to include that with the collector's edition. I think that was wrong to do that, regardless of whether or not the gun was used often in the movie. To withhold that and put that behind a price, a paywall, so to speak. I thought that was, not right for them to do that. And also, the light here, it being white versus amber. The thing about it, and I saw the videos, and I'll turn the lights off so you can see again. This is a really bright light. So there's actually almost a compromise. The InArt one in the video, I saw that showing off, and it didn't look super bright to me. It looked very dim. I don't know if it's just the quality of the lighting that they used or whatever it may be. So it's almost a trade-off. Do you want a inaccurate white light that's stronger and brighter, or do you want the amber that's weaker? Once again, there's a trade-off, and it's not USB. I'm just pointing out things from a different perspective. I've seen enough videos out there, and I personally don't think that there's a clear winner. I know, like, if you had to put a gun to someone's head and say, well, which one? People are going to make a choice. Well, I'd rather have InArt, I'd rather have Hot Toys. But I see very drastic opinions out there saying one's better than the other, and I don't think that's the case. And I think that's a really awesome thing, because it means that both companies stepped their game up. Both of these figures were delayed. They had a lot of delays in them and getting them in the hands of collectors. You know, including the Hot Toys. Like this was delayed a few times for me. I just got it in literally 2 days ago, and the InArt one, I don't expect to get that in for another few months, literally. We have influencer batches that are just starting to trickle out, reviews that are coming out, things like that on the InArt. But like I said, people are still going to be waiting a few months for that specific figure. And you are going to see comparisons, breaking down the details, but people are already trying to do that on social media. And I just don't think it's giving any justice, you know, and it's a little ridiculous in my opinion, but I know it happens. It is what it is. People have an opinion, they're going to say something. But in my, you know, for me, I'm getting the InArt one. I'm so excited for that. I have different posing options like I'm going to do. If you're watching this video, I'll make sure to tag it. But the next video I'm going to do is I'm going to do the OT Customs collar modification. I'm not just going to do a before and after. I'm actually going to do a full breakdown because you do have to modify the cape and things to accept that. So I will do a modification video. So if you're someone that is planning on getting this or another collar, you're still going to do the same modification, okay? Because it's a wider collar piece, you do have to open up the cape, and I will do that as well. What I will also do in that video is kind of do some swaps, because there's definitely people that are concerned about how tight the sculpt is. And I saw a couple of reviews where people had difficulty actually swapping the head from the cowl to the Bruce Wayne, and it was because the stock collar was so tight, they had difficulty really getting that secured. We're gonna take a look at that in the next video I'm gonna make. Like I said, this is just giving you my thoughts overall. I do think that the Bruce Wayne head sculpt is phenomenal on the Hot Toys one, and there's so much things down the pipeline that are coming out. Like I said, I have the Bat Cycle coming. That's another piece that I can't wait for. And if you're familiar with other companies out there, third party, I believe it's Topo Studios. They're actually making a kit, drifter kit, where you can use the Hot Toys or the InArt head sculpt, and it actually replicates the drifter scene in the opening of the movie with him on the bike. If you're not familiar with that, I will link their Instagram in the description to this video. That has not been made yet, but that is another piece that is going to be a great companion to the Bat Cycle. I'm going to be honest, if you haven't picked up that Bat Cycle, I would very much consider it, especially if people find out that, you know, the InArt Batman fits on that really well. I think that's going to drive the hype up on that Bat Cycle even more. So if you haven't gotten the Bat Cycle yet, very much consider finding out who's got it and maybe grab it. But overall, guys, this is an impressive piece. You know, in terms of scaling wise, like out of 10, like what would I give this? It's just the shelf presence is so... it's mind-boggling, and I can't think of how it could get any better. But if I slap a bat bike right there, I just say it's going to get better. If I had to give this, you know, the deduction for the cape, for me, I noticed the difference in the neck piece. I'm going to give this probably 9 out of 10 minimum. Maybe bump it up a little bit more, but deductions for the cape, the cowl, the neck piece being too tight, because I see that on there. I'm not going to be, the detail police and pick apart the details of this, that, and the other. Like I said, you get the die cast, you know, they gave the die cast Batarang on the chest piece. There's so much, all the little pockets and things. They're hard plastic, not leather or pleather, but, you know, I'm not deducting points for that. Like I said, that's the flare. But overall, I'd give it at least minimum. I'd have to think about it, but if I had to, you know, put a spot on a number on it, I'd go 9 out of 10 probably. But let me wrap up the video. Let's turn the lights off and kind of end it in the, you know, to get the full effect for a moment. All right, so there you go, guys. I actually turned off the lights to my display. All my lights are off. So there's the bat signal, and you can kind of see, you know, my walls. It's shining above. I'm just panning behind, but that's the light from the signal, as you can see. So it's pretty bright in this room, but that's the signal, and then the lighting from the bats, you know, the steps on the Batman. I'm gonna dim it down. So there's the red, but you can see just how impressive this piece is, and like I said, how bright that actual signal. Let me try to get the lighting on it, but there it is. That's the signal. I'm just trying to get it focused in, but that is such an amazing piece. I actually don't mind the white to amber. I don't think the amber is killing it for me. I actually don't mind the white, just because, like I said, it's so bright. You can see behind me, casting a shadow, but there's kind of the bat signal on the wall, but you can see how bright this thing is, okay? That's part of the bat signal there. There it is on the wall. It's a very impressive piece, and I will have it displayed in my collection that way, just because, you know, it's badass, and for what it is. So that's awesome. But like I said, we're using the light from the bat signal just to kind of wrap up the video. That's the Batman there. Stay tuned for the next video, where we are going to, like I said, do the modification for the OT Customs cowl, and I'll actually go in a little more in-depth about the head sculpts and do a head sculpt swap for you guys, so you guys can take a look at what I mean by that. And like I said, we'll do a full modification. So if you're concerned about how to modify the cape to accept the new collar or any other wider collar that's being made, there's a few of them on the market. Stay tuned for the next video. I will definitely film that and drop that on the channel so you guys can take a look. But until then, drop a like on the video. Please consider subscribing if this is in fact your first time. And as always, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.